Hello, I'm Peter Vaughan, and today I'm in the fabulous Cheddar Gorge with this brand new motorhome. Not just a brand new motorhome, but a brand new brand of motorhome, Joa Camp. Never heard of them? Well, nobody'd heard of them until they appeared for the very first time at the Düsseldorf Caravan Salon last September. Now, here they are in the UK just a couple of months later with the first coach builds. There are van conversions coming as well. In fact, there will be a range of 5 coach built motorhomes and 3 camper vans. This is the largest in the range. 75 means it's, well, nearly 7.5 metres long. 7.39 metres actually. I don't know why they didn't call it the 74, but hey, that's the French for you. T means it's twin beds. You can have the same van as a Q with a queen's bed or island bed, and they are exactly the same vehicle apart from the bedroom. Why a new brand? Well, this comes from Pilote, big French manufacturer of motorhomes, been building motorhomes since 1978. And they've launched this to appeal to first-time buyers, younger buyers, and people on a lower budget. So these vans, well, this particular one starts at £51,900. All the Joa Camp motorhomes are based on a 3.5-tonne Citroën chassis. It's a Citroën jumper, which we know as the Relay in the UK, and to all intents and purposes, bar the badge, it is exactly the same thing as a Peugeot Boxer. Comes with a 2.2 litre 140 bhp engine. Now, I'm getting really cold standing around here in the gorge, and we're due at the Caravan and Motorhome Club site just down the road where we'll be staying. So let's see how the Citroën fares on the road. Well, there are no surprises here, are there? It's, bar the double chevrons on the steering wheel, it looks just like a Peugeot Boxer. Of course, it hasn't got the latest facelift that we've seen on the Fiat Ducato, so it's got the previous style steering wheel, which Peugeot and Citroën still fit, the same air vents, they haven't been updated either. The media system here, which is DAB radio, and that does your reversing camera screen as well, 9-inch screen, that doesn't have sat-nav, and that's part of one of the options pack discuss a bit later on. Coming down through the gorge is absolutely fantastic, but on the M5 earlier, this van comfortable at 70, very stable as we've come to expect with these several Peugeot Fiat vans. A few rattles from the back, which slightly disappointing, a bit rattly, but apart from that, drives exactly as you would expect a motorhome of this size. Performance is adequate. One thing perhaps you might not expect is these chrome ringed dials on a entry-level motorhome, but and also you wouldn't expect the speedometer to be in kilometres, but I suspect that's just a mistake, as this is a very early production vehicle. And the other thing I should point out, of course, on the Citroën is, just as with the Peugeot, there's no automatic gearbox option, so it's 6-speed manual. That is the only transmission. So, now we've arrived from the gorge, let's see if the motorhome is gorgeous. Well, it looks quite distinctive, doesn't it? Although it's from the Pilote group, they haven't just recycled old Pilote mouldings. You've got this very angular finish where the junction of the cab and the habitation body, and the over cab moulding is very angular too. Whether you like it or not is very much a personal thing, but it doesn't look like a cheap and cheerful vehicle. You've got aluminium skirts, polyester or glass fibre for the sidewalls, the roof and underside. Alloy wheels are part of one of the packs. I'll go through the packs in a minute. Of course, on a cheaper van you've got the caravan style habitation windows that sit proud of the body, but that's what you'd expect. Insulation is styrofoam, so that's another plus. And then at the back you've got 2 garage doors. On a German van, they seem to like to charge you extra for a second garage door, but you get 2 full-sized ones here included in the price. There's a main socket, 3-pin main socket there as well, and these little tie-down points. It's over 1 metre wide in here and about 950mm high. And you've got this strip LED light as well. There is, if you're loading larger items in here, you might need to check that they fit, because this is the gas locker and it intrudes quite a bit into the garage space over on the near side. And you'll also need to leave yourself room for this extra cushion, which is quite a big thing. You'll see that again in a minute. You need to leave yourself space for that if you're going to make the lounge bed. So we'll show you that a bit later on. The gas locker, by the way, that holds 2 13-kilo cylinders, so that's an advantage over a lot of other vans that have to take 6s. Like most continental motorhomes, the habitation door remains on the offside on right-hand drive vehicles. This one, again, because it's got packs on it, comes with a window and a fly screen. The electric step automatically retracts, another plus against some budget motorhomes, and the fact it's an electric step and not a manual one as well. And yeah, it all looks quite clean, fresh, different colours. Let's take a look inside. One of the defining aspects of the Joa Camp offering is keeping things simple. Simple for the dealer and simple for the customer to understand. So, as I said, this 75 length is available with twin beds or an island bed, and the layouts are exactly the same apart from the bedroom. And then you can choose a shorter one, a 70 6.99 metre motorhome, which has the same bedrooms, the same kitchen, bathroom, and just a shorter lounge if you need a shorter vehicle. And keeping things simple again, there aren't lists and lists and lists of options. Most of the options come down to 3 packs. The chassis pack at £870 gives you LED daytime running lights, a leather steering wheel, aluminium finish on the vents, which we haven't actually got here, hands-free kit, so the remote control switches on the steering wheel for the radio and Bluetooth, and 16-inch alloy wheels, which of course give the outside a bit of a lift in appearance-wise. Then, again at £870, there's the living area pack. That gives you cab carpet, not living area carpets though, gives you the opening sky dome, this big sunroof over the cabin. I think that's a bit of a must-have feature because it gives a lot of light in the front part of the vehicle. Also gives you the habitation door with the window and the fly screen. Worth noting though that that door is not linked to the central locking and it only locks at one point in the centre. It's not one of these multi-point locking doors. It also gives you a folding towel rack in the washroom and a regulator so that you can use your gas heating whilst driving. Finally, there's the extra pack, and this is the pricey one at £3,260. But that gives you a 100-watt solar panel, the DAB radio with the reversing camera, and that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. It gives you the lounge bed, so the extra cushion that we saw in the garage, that makes up the front bed here and takes the standard van from a 2-berth to a 3-berth. The extra pack also upgrades the heating, which as standard is a gas-only Trimmer Combi 4. Now it upgrades that to a 6 kilowatt, so up from 4 kilowatt to 6 kilowatt, and gives you your mains electric function as well. So you've got gas and mains for your heating, useful when you're staying on a club site like this. And finally, it gives you an insulated wastewater tank. Water capacities are 130 litres fresh, the fresh water tank being based under the seat, so that's inboard, good for winterisation. The waste tank, that's 95 litres, and if you have the extra pack, it's insulated for winter use as well. So what we have here is actually about as high spec as you're going to see a Joa Camp, because this one has all 3 packs on it. It also has the optional drop-down bed above me here and an oven in the kitchen. Now, the drop-down bed depends how many birds you need, I suppose. The oven is going to be pretty much a given for the UK market. I know Vaughan Caravans in Weston-super-Mare, or just outside Weston-super-Mare, who supplied this vehicle for our review, have ordered some vans with and some without the drop-down bed. However, with the drop-down bed, the 2 singles at the back and the lounge bed, as we've got in this particular example, that makes this a 5-berth motorhome. And it's a proper 5-berth motorhome with 5 travel seats as well. And that's quite unusual in this class. Being a 5-berth, of course, it's extra important that you've got this big lounge. And it is a very generous lounge. It does feel a lot more spacious than a lot of other vehicles in this class. Having said that, of course, if you go for the shorter model, the 70, that does have the more compact lounge, and that is only a 4-berth. But this 75, it does feel quite spacious. Now, the lighting's good. You've got downlights in the underside of the drop-down bed. You've got these LED strips under the top lockers. These top lockers also are bigger than you expect when they're hung underneath a drop-down bed. Often drop-down bed models have these teeny little cupboards under the drop-down, and you think, why bother? Why not just leave them out? They're just there for decoration. What isn't here for decoration is the space. It's a roomy van. And then some of the decor, you've got these bright sort of turquoisey coloured drapes, you've got bright cushions. It's trying to be a bit younger, and I like it. It's got a fresh, modern, simple feel about the interior. Yes, it's a budget van. You've got flat locker doors, but it doesn't feel cheap and cheerful. Even this inward facing seat adjacent to the door is a bit bigger than a lot of them. Comfortably, you could get 6-7 people around this table for an evening's entertainment, but it is a big table, isn't it? Yes, great for family dining. 5 of you could sit here comfortably, I suspect, for a sit-down meal, but the rest of the time, when you're not eating or playing Monopoly or whatever, it's a little bit big. It does slide in all sorts of directions, so you can get it a little bit out of the way. And it's worth noting too that the cab seats are a little bit higher than the lounge seats. There's a step down from the cab into the living area because the vehicle's based on Citroen's lowered chassis rather than the high frame chassis, so that improves the stability and handling on the road. But it does mean, as I say, there's a step down from the cab into the lounge area. It does also mean that there's decent headroom. I think it's 1.88 metres under the drop-down bed, even more if you don't have the drop-down bed, of course. So big table, but I do wish it folded in half when you weren't dining. Other than that, cab seats, of course, swivel. Both have armrests. The covers are maybe a tiny bit baggy. I've seen better, but this is an entry-level van, don't forget. Now let's take a look at how the Joa Camp has 5 travel seats. Well, of course, you've got 2 rear travel seats here in the conventional style. To create legroom, again in the usual way, just remove this cushion, and then this panel and the backrest cushion as well, that needs to be stowed away in the bedroom behind. This panel simply folds up. I feel that it needs something a bit more substantial to hold it against the wall, but we'll forgive it for that. We'll forgive it that for the moment. You need reasonably long legs to be comfortable in this travel position, but that's not unusual. What is unusual is that you've also got a rear-facing travel seat. So 2 in the cab, 2 on the half-dinette bench, and 1 rearward-facing seat. It would help though if the person travelling here isn't too tall, because there's no head restraint. So that's the 5 travel seats. Let's show you how you get 5 berths in this 7.5 metre motorhome. Well, first of all, there's just a handle to release the mechanism on the table, and then you just push it down, lock it in place, and then that big extra cushion that we saw in the garage, that just simply slots in there. And now, if you take away the backrest cushions at either end, you've actually got a bed that's 2.21 metres long by 0.83 metres or 830 millimetres wide. That is a cracking single bed, and it's so much easier than most lounge beds. So much easier. So much flatter as well. Then of course there's the drop down bed. If you don't need it, you don't have to have it. If you want it, it's an £1,130 option, and the only thing you have to do before you lower it is take away that 1 backrest cushion for the rear facing travel seat. Then it's just a matter of pressing the button. You don't have to move anything else. So you can leave your downstairs either as a lounge or as a bed. Do need a ladder. Good thing is that it does leave access through the habitation door, so that's not obstructed. You have got a little bit of a cutaway on the end of the bed, but not too bad. You've got reading lights for the bed as well, his and hers, and this bed measures 1.99 metres long, so 6'6" long, so a really good length for a drop-down bed by 1.27 metres wide, although of course it does narrow at the foot. Now at this point there's a couple of things that are worth pointing out. First of all, if you are really going to use this as a 5-berth van, well, is there enough space with the drop down bed lowered? Yes, actually there is. Even though these cupboards intrude a little bit, there's so much length to this bed that you can comfortably sleep under here. I think it's 710 millimetres headroom under this bed. That's of course lower underneath the lockers, but you're just going to have to be careful not to bang your head on those when you wake up in the morning. Then the drop-down bed itself has 700 millimetres of headroom from mattress to ceiling. Also worth remembering is that you can leave your duvet on top of the bed when you raise it to the ceiling. There is enough clearance between the bed and the roof of the van. What you can't do is also leave your pillows there, but it does mean that you don't have to worry about where to store the duvet for the drop-down bed. It can stay there all the time. Before we move on to the back bedroom, I'll just show the privacy for the front. You get curtains rather than blinds around the cab, but you do get posh pleated blinds for the side windows. If this Joa Camp being a true 5-berth is unusual, so is the end bedroom. What's unusual about twin single beds over a garage, you might be thinking? Well, in the Pilote range, they offer different heights of rear bed. In the Joa Camp, this is the only option, this height. And you might have thought when you looked at the garage earlier in the video, that's not the tallest of garages. Well, it's not the tallest of garages because these beds aren't up here. You don't need to climb up steps to get into them. It's just a single step here. Access is very, very easy. I mean, I can just sit on the end of the bed and literally sort of flop in. But with this large centre area here, plenty of room for books, tray of drinks, snacks, anything you want to have by your bed, your laptop, phone. You can charge things from the USB ports built into both of the reading lights. But the key thing is access to the bed is brilliant, and there's lots and lots of headroom. It feels lovely and spacious back here. Spaciousness is a bit of a theme in this van. Bed lengths, the offside bed is 1.98 metres long, so really generous, and the near side one is 1.89, so still pretty good. And those are the mattress lengths. You've actually got a bit of space either end of the mattress, so well over 2 metres on the offside. Plenty big enough, the beds, and they're 720mm wide each of them. Mattresses are quite firm, but the other thing you need to know is, of course, headroom. Well, you've got these little padded headboard things which are more decoration than anything else, because you can't really sit up in bed. You can prop yourself up a little bit, but you can't fully sit up in bed. It's a pity they didn't put lockers down the side of the bedroom rather than here, but hey ho, that's the way they've designed it. The main socket at the foot of the bed here, the USBs are pointed out earlier, and then you'd probably expect there to be wardrobes under the foot of these beds. Well, remember, they're not very tall. Well, you don't get a wardrobe, at least not in this particular vehicle. There's a large locker in there. And then on this side, you could have a hanging rail, and I have a horrible feeling that Joa Camp or Pilot have just forgotten to put one in, because although the floor is stepped in there, it is as much as 840mm floor to ceiling at the deeper part. So you could use that as hanging space. Otherwise, it's going to have to be bags of soft clothes, because there's no hanging rail or anything, just one hook for a coat on the door. As I say, no hanging rails in this vehicle, but lots and lots of cupboard space under the foot of the beds. The other detail that I should show you as far as the bedroom is concerned is that the beds aren't slatted all the way along. You've got sprung staves at the top end of the bed, and then just a flat surface at the foot of the bed, and that's the same both sides. For nighttime privacy, important of course, as this is a 5-berth, potentially a family van, you haven't got a door to slide off the bedroom, but you do have a concertina screen that pulls across and attaches to the bathroom wall. So the bathroom then becomes ensuite to the rear bedroom. And so to the washroom. And this is from the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" school of design, because we've seen this arrangement in a number of Pilot models before. So you've got the superior Dometic type cassette toilet, which I much prefer to the Thetford one. It just seems much better made. You've got decent basin with a little bit of worktop around it, good cupboard space behind me, even a proper fiddle rail on this little shelf at the bottom, good sized mirror. All looks pretty good, doesn't it? And showering, well, that's even better, because you just swing the wall across, bolt attaches it to the ceiling, and now with the false floor removed, you've got a really decent sized shower cubicle. There is a step in the tray, but you're going to be standing here, that doesn't seem to really matter. Shower head is on a riser bar. You've got a little shelf for your shampoo or whatever. Yeah, it's a good, proven bathroom design, and all hidden behind a tambour door. A rather stiff tambour door on this one. And now it's time to look at the kitchen, and well, the first thing you'll notice is this sort of magnetic pinboard thing. A bit of a novelty, but it does add a dash of colour, which in so many motorhomes, when they're so grey or beige and bland, it's quite nice to have that. Anyway, kitchen is not going to please everybody in the UK, because it's only got a 2-burner hob. It's only got this little bit of worktop here. There's no flap or anything to extend that, but it does have an oven and grill, duplex, familiar set for duplex installation, combined oven and grill. That's a pretty good fitting. We've seen that in loads and loads of motorhomes these days, and that's £520 option. It's an option I cannot see any Joas coming to the UK without. I'm sure they'll all have that. Other than that, plus points, you've got a couple of good sized drawers, one for your cutlery and utensils, another one for your plates, pots and pans, that sort of thing. And you've also got a big cupboard down at the bottom as well. Fridge, well, that's a plus too, because it's one of these tall, slim fridges. It's mounted at a lovely height. You've got to be a little bit aware of this step going up into the bedroom area, but it's not a big consideration really. Fridge, going back to the fridge, that's 139 litres, so really good size, and it's an automatic energy selection one, so it automatically goes between 12-volt mains and gas. Always a plus if you forget to turn your fridge over, if you've got a three-way fridge and you forget to turn it from one power source to another, and everything starts to warm up, of course. And then you've got another really deep drawer under the fridge, and that's got a waste bin built into it as well. So good storage. Got a big top locker as well. It's nicely lit, but it is an entry-level motorhome that benefits from a big fridge. Just one last little detail to show you before I wrap up this video with a conclusion, and that's this little extra locker, just a bit of useful extra space next to the washroom. Maybe they could have put a mirror or a coat hook or something on the wall there, but remember, this is an entry-level model where they're trying to keep the price down. What you do get here is a couple of USB ports and a perfect little shelf to put your phone on. So, the Joa Camp 75T, our first look at this brand new brand. Well, you could expect it to be good from the Pilote Group. They've got so much experience in building low-profile motorhomes. And there's a lot to like here. This 3.5-tonne motorhome works as a 5-berth. It's got 675 kilo payload in standard trim, so that should be enough for a lot of families. If you need to upgrade it, you can go from a 3.5-tonne to 650 kg chassis if your driving licence allows you to drive that. Other than that, this does feel like a spacious vehicle. For a 7.4 metre motorhome, it does feel unusually roomy. This is a nice big lounge, and the aisle going through to the bedroom is wide. You haven't got that usual sort of closed off feeling where the bedroom feels totally separate and you've got the shower and toilet closing off the back of the van opposite each other. It really does open up the back of the motorhome in this layout. If you want a bit of privacy, you want to keep your bedroom private, you can always pull that screen across if you've got visitors coming in. So that is the big thing about this van. It feels spacious and it works for up to 5 people. Things I'm not so keen on, well, I'd like a bit more worktop in the kitchen. I could probably live with a 2-burner hob, but I'm sure a lot of people would want 3, or maybe even a mains hot plate. What else is there to like? Well, the bedroom, I think, is quite impressive. The bed sizes are good. Just a shame that you can't properly sit up in bed. These front beds, however, the drop down and the lounge bed are very good. So again, it works for 5 people. Table is large, suits family dining for 5 again, but I would like it to fold in half so that it doesn't feel so dominant all the time. Other than that, I didn't like the look of the spaghetti wiring under the seat over there. That was a bit daunting to me. And I didn't like the rattles on the road, but generally it feels like a nicely built motorhome, as you'd expect of a Pilote Group product. So I think the Joa Camp brand is going to do quite well in the UK. Loaded here with the 3 packs, which certainly you're going to want the chassis pack and the living pack, and you're probably going to want the extra pack if you can stretch that extra £3,000. Beyond that, you've only got to consider whether you want the drop-down bed or not, and I'm sure all the ones that come to the UK will have the oven. So all in, you're looking at £58,500 for this vehicle, which in 2022, I'm afraid, is pretty much entry level for a full-size motorhome like this. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed your first look at this new brand, Joa Camp. I'm sure we're going to see more of them. Hopefully have a look at one of their camper van models later on. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like, because I hope you've enjoyed the video. More videos coming along very, very soon. And if you want to see a video of the sister brand, Pilote, we've recently tested their P696U, an unusual rear lounge model. So why not watch that one now?